Welcome viewers. We just thought we'd show you a little bit about changing the deck over from a mulch kit to a slashing. There's a few little items and it's quite simple. A lot of people actually don't know how to do it, but it is actually quite a simple process. So follow my lead and I'll show you what we've got here. Socket set, a few spanners here. Here's all the little parts. I make this an absolute must, where you put all your bits and pieces when you're finished. These are our Gator Blades. They're for slashing. Basically what they do is they throw and split the grass up. Makes it easier when it's throwing it out the side. Just in case, the old pump for the tyres. An important tool, impact driver with a socket bit. Okay, so that fits your sockets. Good old Makita. As they say in the trade world, there's only 3 names in power tools. Makita, Makita, Makita. Okay, I've got the sockets, bits and pieces out, ready to go. So make yourself at home. Here we go. So the first bit is, there's a socket for later. I'm going to use that one a little bit later. Actually, that's 20, that's what I'm going to use now. Okay, your 2 struts are in underneath here. So fit that little bad boy there. And go in underneath there. This one here. And all I'm doing is loosening the 2 main struts. That's one. These are high tensile bolts. Nut and bolt. Don't lose the washers. There's 2 washers. High tensile, that's one. We're going to come over this other side here. So there are 2 of them here. Oh, there we go. That was a bit tight, that one. Sometimes these things can tighten up while you're actually riding, I shouldn't say riding, driving the mower. Okay, these 2 big main struts help support the actual deck under the mower. So as you can see, they're pretty solid steel with a rotating swivel ball in there. So when you go to put these back in, just make sure they're not offset. I'll show you that when we go to do it later. We'll go back in later. That's part 1. Part 2. Now, just make sure you've got the deck as low as it can go on the ground. That's a bit of a hint that I do. I just make sure that it's as low as it can go on the ground. All right. The old impact driver, 4 bolts. Also on the struts, 1, 2, and the same on the other side. There's 1 and 2. And I've already greased this up, but it's a really good time later. There's a couple of grease points here that you can grease when the deck's off. So, that's 1. Two. Just make sure they're out. 1, 2. Go around the other side. All happening here at Benchmark. All to do with professional horticultural maintenance. If your machinery is in good nick, you get quality service. That's all I can say. So there's a fair bit that goes into this kind of work. A lot of people don't see behind the scenes. Now careful with the last one, because that's when the deck might want to drop. So make sure you've got no toes or fingers underneath the deck. And then because I've lowered it, it hasn't got a long way to fall because of the wheels. Okay, remember I talked about making sure it was as low as it can be. That's it, that's the deck down. We've still got to take the fan belt off. And this is the one that everyone goes, God, how do you do that? And it's so simple. trusty old piece of whippersnipper cord, brush cutter cord, eh? Everyone's got a bit of that floating around in the yard. So down we go. As you can see, that's the tensioning spring. Okay, so that actually makes sure that this is at a certain tension so that the fan belt can turn the blades. So all you do, place that under there. I'll show you like that. Pull this out a bit. There you go. So look at that. So my hands are well clear now. So all I've got to do is pull that. Look at that. I just pulled it out from around there and let it go. I'll leave that in there because I'm going to need that again later. We'll put it up on the deck. Okay, so that's now loosened up. If you look underneath here, it's actually loosened up the tensioning. All right, so that spring's come off. And you come around underneath the back of the mower. I'm going to take this hat off. Our hats are supplied by Mensland up in Mareeba. Thanks, Mensland. Okay. All right, see this little fan belt here? Okay, because we've undone the tensioning belt, you can now just pull that off. Look at that, nice and easy. Now make sure when you go to put it together that you don't put this fan belt underneath there like that, because it's not going to work. You're going to bust it. Okay, so that's your fan belt off. All you need to do now is with a little bit of brute force, but I always use your legs. Always bend your knees straight back. Happy days. Deck's out. Righto. So we've got our deck out. Keep everything nice and tidy. As you can see, we always clean down our mowers before we go to any other job. Because you can collect all the seed from one property and transport it to your next property. So benchmark, push mower, brush cutter, secateurs, we clean everything down before we move to the next site. Okay, so I don't have to do too much work. There are those front struts I was telling you about. Now, currently, we've got the mulch deck in. So you can see these these bolts here. There's one there and one here. Righto. So we're going to remove them. Now, I'll tell you another trick with these two, by the way. Just so, because we're not going to put the mulch, we're taking the mulch deck off so that we can slash long grass. Now, when you go to do these back up, when you're putting the mulch deck back on, don't over tighten it because you can actually snap these threads off. So be very careful with when you're tightening. So if you were tightening, you're just doing it hand tight, that's all. One little nip at the end. Make sure you got your little washers off. Everything that comes off goes back on. There they are there. Right, don't lose any of those. You're going to need them again. So there's 4 altogether. This is the third one. One. Good thing with this Hustler mower is you actually forget how to configure the actual nice and warm up here in the tropics fan belt. It's got a little diagram here of how it goes. So on every mower there should be one of those. What I suggest you do is take a photo when you get your mower then you know exactly where they are. So there's those 4. And that's that little thing I was telling you about before. You can't beat one of those, mate. Handy. So everything goes straight back inside. Can't lose it. Happy days. Right, we have one more to undo. A little sneaky, this one. So we get shifters out. There we go. Come around the back here. This little guy here, he's the last one that holds that's the mulch deck. So basically what happens is the grass can't come out the side chute. It goes up. When it's cut, drops back down. The blades, because of the shape of them, cut the grass again and force it into the turf, so it doesn't look like it's dead turf left on the lawn. So let's make sure that one works. No. Gonna get next one down. Okay. Okay, so we've loosened him up. There he goes. It's a little spring washer too. See how it's got a split in it? So it holds that little one on. There's that little nut goes in there. We know it's there. Happy days, there's those 3. We're all done. And put all this back in the container. All right, here we go. So that's undone. That's undone your mulch kit. There's your mulch kit. Alright, so we've got to get that little bad boy off. There's a bit of persuasion. So we'll get what you've got to do is just make sure you don't bugger up the thread. You don't want to bugger up those threads if they get a little bit stuck. So I'm using the handle, it's only soft. There we go, that's helped. Don't hit with a hammer or the steel because you'll bugger that thread up. And then, that's him. That's your mulch deck out. There we go. They're mulching blades. So we're going to change those. See the shape of them? So they're completely different to our 3. And I'll show you when I take them off. Completely different blades. Old impact driver, mate. That's mulch blade number 1. Mulch blade number 2. Now, that one there looks like okay. That's it. All we've got to do now is change the cutting blade. Now, viewers, important part. Don't put your blades on upside down or you're going to absolutely scour the turf, okay? If you put the blades on the wrong way, see how they stick up above? See how they stick up above that? You are going to cut into the soil, okay? So always make sure that your blades are on the right way. It can't be above the deck, okay? See how now they're facing down? So they can't be in front of the deck. A lot of them may have written here, grass side up. This one in particular doesn't, or it's probably worn off. So remember, just in case it's worn off, your blades are no higher than your cutting deck. All right, so we'll go and put these guys on. Pretty simple. Straight back. One. And that's why I use a impact driver, because you know that they're going to stay on. In there, thread in. 2. Should be working for Formula 1. Eh? Benchmark cruise, flat at it. That's it. Away. All right. There we go. And as you can see, completely different deck. Blade. That's your mulching blade. So as it turns, it shoots, it cuts and it shoots the grass up into the deck, but it's got to fall again. And what happens is it cuts it this side and forces it down into the ground. Pretty ingenious, really. And good for the environment. Okay, blades away. Mulch deck away. When you're putting this away, always make sure that you put it with the threads up. That way you won't break it. We love it up here in the tropics. Okay, time to put it back. Pretty simple, really. As you can see, that's your spring. That's for tensioning. See that side and that side? Don't be worried if you go, oh no, which side should have I put it on? Don't worry about that. It actually doesn't matter. It just matters that it goes in there. So that's your tensioning. That's your tensioning spindle. These are your 3 drive spindles, axle spindles. So we'll leave that there. Screw it down. All I do is I get it around about level again. When I push it under, I get it round about where this is. I know that they're all going to go back to where they were. And, as you can see, love it up here in the tropics. We start from the beginning again. You start from where you left off here. Start from the front. This is the most important. Do it all again. So, see how they were offset? You get them nice. You see, so it's quite easy to manoeuvre it around with your feet. Rather than pulling and pushing with your body, it's quite easy. Just nothing's going to fall on your legs. All they've got to do, sit up inside there, because that's where they came from, and then you can just pull it onto that little piece of steel there and start placing the whole system. Whoops, I pushed it back then with my feet. That was my fault. That's one. Now I'm only going to hand tighten these first, and then I'll do them up with the socket set. That's one. Now remember, they go in the same way. The nut has to go on the inside, not on the outside. So that nut there has to go on the inside so it's protected. Okay? So the head of the bolt goes on the outside, manipulation there. Second washer, and as I say, nut on the inside. Happy days. Back to, where's my ratchet now? Where have I left that? There it is. Okay. So all we're going to do then, before you leave, make sure, now don't over tighten whatever you do. I'm just putting that in underneath to hold it so I can ratchet. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just putting that over the nut on the inside there. There it is. And then I can then just tighten up. Now I'm tight there now. All right, so that's, and then all I do is just one nip and that's it. Okay, so I'll show you again here. So I'm just getting it to, right, so that's just tight there where it's bound together, and all I'm doing is just one more nip. That's it. That's all you need to do. Happy days. Right, that's that bit done. So we don't need them. They're there. We don't need him anymore because that was for the back to the deck. So all I do here is, because you can't, that's got to go in there, I just put my hand here, that in underneath like that. All I do is just put that there, and then there's a bit of tension on that, so be careful, don't get your toes or anything caught in under here. And then jump in up on the seat again. And you have to lower the deck again. Okay, because basically now, where we did that, raise the deck, we just need to put the deck back down on the ground. Okay, that way there's not too much issue with, I just tighten him up. That's one, then you know it's not going to come undone. All we do then is go around and put the four back on. Second one, I've got steel caps. So what I do, I always wear steel caps at work. I can put that one there if I want to. And if it does fall, it's not going to hurt my toe. That's him. Very easy. All hand done. Tighten him up. This side's even easier now. Look at that. Same again. Hand in under here, in front of the wheel. A little nip, and the last one, and the final nips. There's only four. No, it's him done. Happy days. Hey, Formula One. You know my number. Righto. So last thing we need to do, fan belt. Righto, let's have a look here. Take this hat off just so you can see. All right, so we were talking about the fan belt going over the back axle. Remember before at the very beginning? So we're over the back axle, and I'm going to show you one more thing that always happens. Coming underneath here, have a look. Okay, this does happen a little bit. See how the fan belt goes around? Every now and then, see that there on the hydraulic drives? See how the fan belt's stuck in underneath there? Make sure, see that? Make sure before you start the mower, you come and double check everything, that there's nothing impeding that fan belt, that it doesn't get stuck in underneath there. Okay, on either side. Happy days, because it can get stuck there. All right, that's him done. Here we come. There's our tensioning. It's our tensioning one. Yeah, so we've got to get that back onto there to make sure that this is nice and tight. But before we do it, we know we've come around. It's nice around this spindle, nice around that spindle. It's nice around that spindle. It's not hanging off any of the spindles, so it's in good nick at the moment. The old trusty cord, eh? Now, a little bit of a trick from Benchmark. I go on the inside of this if that's facing that way, I make sure my cord is on the inside of that. Okay, and I'll tell you why, and I'll do it. So he's hooked on. So I go underneath, hook him on. And the reason I do that is because when you pull it, see how that slides around nice and easily? I'm on, but I'm just going to show you why I do it. If I was on the other side, I can't get it on. Okay, you go, oh no, so you have to lift it up and over. On it comes. What you do is separate the cords. The old piece of brush cutter cord, worth $1 million. If you go bush, take a bit with you, you never know, you might be able to use it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the final of what we're going to do here at Benchmark with our quick change of deck, double check the bolts. 1, 2. 3, 4, yep. We know we did those, 5 and 6, that's it, there's only 6 bolts, and we double check the fan belt. Most of all, the very last thing is double check just in case it's not caught underneath. Look at that. Wonderful. We're off and running. Righto. Then all you got to do all day. Everything back to where it belongs. We always keep those in the back seat cover. Thanks to our friends at Can Mower City. I put these little bad boys on. We've got a couple of people that like to supply us with gloves. I won't mention their names just yet. That keeps the sun off the hands when you're sitting like this all day on a big job. There we go. The whole reason we use these because of the sun. Have a great day. See you next maybe week.